So you figured out something is wrong with your AC, and you suspect a bad AC condenser. But how can you be sure? What are the signs to look out for? Let's take a look. If your car's AC condenser is acting up, you might notice some signs like reduced cooling efficiency, AC not working, leaks or damage, weird noises, overheating, funky odors from the vents, and dashboard warning lights. To get it fixed, the cost varies depending on your car's make and model, usually ranging from $400 to $900, including parts and labor. How does the AC condenser work? Before we dive into the symptoms, I think it would be a smart idea to recap how the whole system functions. The AC condenser sits right at the front, usually just in front of the radiator. It's pretty easy to spot because it looks a lot like the radiator, kind of like a metal grid with tubes and fins. When your AC is working hard to cool down your car, it's actually moving around refrigerant. First, the refrigerant gets heated up and pressurized in another part called the compressor. It's all hot at this point, in a gaseous state. That's where the condenser steps in. The condenser's job is to cool this hot gas down. As the air flows through the condenser, thanks to your car moving or a fan helping out, it takes away the heat. This cools the refrigerant down so much that it turns into a liquid. This cooling down is super important. Without the condenser doing its job, your car's AC can't keep the cycle going to keep pumping out cold air. If it's damaged or not working right, you'll definitely feel it. Your AC won't be as cold, or it might stop working altogether. Symptoms of a bad AC condenser. Lowered cooling efficiency. When the condenser isn't working properly, it can't cool the refrigerant efficiently. This means the refrigerant doesn't lose enough heat, and as a result, the air blowing into your car isn't as cool as it should be. Air conditioning not working at all. If the condenser is severely damaged or completely blocked, it may fail to condense the refrigerant at all. This disruption in the refrigerant cycle can lead to the AC system shutting down, as it can't complete its cooling cycle. Visible leaks or damage. The condenser is exposed at the front of the car, making it vulnerable to damage from road debris, accidents, or corrosion. If you see any leaks, refrigerant is a colorless gas, but you might notice oil stains or physical damage. It means the condenser can't hold or properly process the refrigerant. Strange noises. Noise can point to internal damage or blockages in the condenser. If debris or a system fault causes the internal parts to malfunction, you might hear rattling or other unusual sounds when the AC is on. AC system overheating. An ineffective condenser can't remove enough heat from the refrigerant. This might lead to the AC system working harder than it should, causing it to overheat. You might notice this as warm air blowing from the vents instead of cold. Unusual smell. Bad smells can be due to various issues in the AC system, but when linked to the condenser, it could be due to mold or mildew inside the system, especially if the condenser isn't drying the air properly. It could also be a sign of a refrigerant leak. Pressure issues. Modern vehicles have sensors to monitor the AC system's pressure. If the condenser isn't functioning correctly, it can cause pressure fluctuations, either too high or too low. This can trigger warning lights on your dashboard and indicate that the system isn't working as it should. How to test a bad AC condenser. You can do some testing at home, but some of the tests require specialized tools and you'll need a mechanic to look at them. 1. Check for any obvious signs of damage, like dents, cracks, or holes in the condenser. Since it's at the front of the car, it's prone to getting banged up by stuff on the road. 2. Make sure to keep an eye out for any signs of refrigerant leaks. While refrigerant is usually a gas at room temperature, it's often mixed with a special oil that might leave some visible traces if there's a leak. 3. Over time, the condenser fins can get clogged up with dirt, leaves, or debris. You can give them a visual inspection and clean them up if needed. 4. Make sure nothing is blocking the airflow to the condenser. When the airflow is restricted, it can mess with the cooling efficiency. 5. Go ahead and turn on the AC to experience its cooling performance. If it's not cooling as well as you hoped, it could be a condenser problem. But don't worry, there could also be other issues with the AC system that might be causing poor cooling. 6. Next, you can do a system pressure test. This requires a set of AC pressure gauges. You can check the pressure on the high and low side of the AC system. If you notice any unusual readings, it could mean there's an issue with the condenser or other components of the system. 7. Using a car vent thermometer, measure the temperature of the refrigerant line going into and coming out of the condenser. There should be a noticeable temperature drop. If not, the condenser may not be functioning properly. 8. Sometimes You might come across issues that need more advanced diagnostic tools, like an AC refrigerant identifier or a system flush machine. These are usually available at professional service centers, but at that point it will be easier to just bring the car to a mechanic. How much to replace a bad AC condenser? The cost for just the condenser part can range from $150 to $400 depending on your car's make and model. For standard vehicles, it's usually on the lower end of this scale, while luxury or specialized cars might have more expensive condensers. After replacing the condenser, the AC system often needs a refrigerant recharge. The cost for the refrigerant itself can be around $50 to $150, depending on the type and amount required. Sometimes additional parts like O-rings, seals, or hoses might need replacement during the condenser replacement process. These parts are generally not very expensive, but they can add an extra $20 to $50 to the overall parts cost. In some AC repairs, it's recommended to replace the dryer or accumulator, which can cost an additional $50 to $100. To summarize what we talked about in this video, from the obvious lowered cooling efficiency of the AC system to more complex issues like compressor failure, a bad condenser can cause various problems. However, with some basic diagnostic tools and proper maintenance, you can easily spot and fix most condenser-related issues on your own. While an AC condenser replacement will cost you a few $100s, it's crucial to keep your car's AC system running smoothly and efficiently, especially during the hot summer months. So if you suspect an issue with your condenser, don't hesitate to get it checked out and replaced if necessary. I hope this video helped. Thank you for watching.